All right, Ron, we'll get to the current Mets in a couple minutes, but we'll start with the book. What was your biggest inspiration in writing this book?
Well, it's an introspective look at my career, especially one game, the Game 7 of the 1986 World Series. It's one of those things where I think most athletes, when they write a book, they want to write about something that happened that's great in their life. And this is something that kind of stuck in my craw, so I wanted to write about it and get it out there, that athletes, their best intentions is to have a great game in the biggest games they play. Sometimes that doesn't happen. That's what the book's about.
And just going off on Game 7, Ron, now go 2 nights before, it's Game 6. You guys beat the Red Sox, you tie the series, you're celebrating, and then a thought crosses through your mind that you're pitching Game 7 of the World Series, a kid's dream, as you said in the book, but then when it really becomes a reality, how exactly does that feel?
Well, it felt great. The problem was it rained, so there was 48 hours before the end of the Game 6 and then until we started Game 7. So that was just a lot of time to kind of think about it. I think I thought too much about it instead of just letting the natural talent flow in retrospect. But in real time, it was I couldn't have been more excited. It was just one of those special moments that didn't turn out great for me, but it turned out great for the team. So that in the long run, that's all that matters.
And we'll fast forward to now the 2016 Mets. One guy I want to ask you about, since you're a student of watching pitching, of course, you being a former pitcher. Matt Harvey has gone through some struggles early in the season. You did a demo on one of the broadcasts in Philly of what's going wrong. What do you see from him right now while he's struggling?
Well, the great thing about baseball, it doesn't matter who you are, at some point you're going to struggle. It's a very humbling game. Matt has been humbled here in April. I'm such a big Matt Harvey fan. He's going to figure it out, and at some point he's going to be great again. These things happen sometimes, especially coming out of the gate where, sometimes you're not as prepared as you thought you were. Sometimes the breaks go against you, and sometimes it's just bad pitching. The weird thing about baseball is that if you look at anybody, Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, Babe Ruth, if you look at their career, like 1 month of their career, you could look at that month and go, boy, he wasn't a very good player. But it's the totality of what they do. And at the end of the year, Matt's going to be around that 15-win mark with the low ERA, and he'll be one of the best pitchers in the game.
And, Ron, I wanted to ask you specifically about Yoenis Cespedes. After the World Series, he became a free agent, and here you have a guy who turned down 2 mega contracts to be a New York Met again. What exactly was your mindset when you found out that he re-signed mainly specifically for that reason?
Well, it legitimized the Mets. I think if the Mets did not have Cespedes, it would be a real difficult time for them to play up to the Nationals. I think the Nationals are an amazingly talented team. The only way to match them with their talent was to sign Cespedes. And Cespedes, it doesn't give them a leg up, but these two teams, the Nationals and the Mets, are going to be butting heads all summer long, and it's because they both have amazing talent, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Ron, how about Bartolo Colon? I mean, I think fans watching him, they're like amazed how this guy does what he does. 42 years old, his kind of body type. I mean, you watching him, how does he do it exactly?
He does it because he's sneaky athletic. I think we live in a world, and I mean, this is kind of serious, but we kind of live in a world, if you don't look the part, there's a lot of bias against that. And I think, to me, I don't like that. It drives me nuts because he's sneaky athletic. He's always been good. He's going to be 43 years old in a month. He's won the most games for the Mets the last 2 seasons. So when are you going to give him his due, okay? He doesn't look like Noah Syndergaard. If you spit him out of a computer, maybe he's not perfect. But I think the nickname the players give him, Super Sexy, is so perfect because he really is a good player. There's so few pitchers that have won 219 ball games. He's done it, and it really shows, the quality of his performance has been for all these years. I'm a big fan. I like watching him pitch more than maybe just about anybody because you never know what you're going to see.
And we saw a first example last year, what Sandy Alderson could do with the trade deadline. Now let's fast forward a little bit more towards July. What do you see as the biggest area that the Mets have to improve on if they want to get back to where they were last year and then hopefully this year win the World Series?
Well, there's a couple things they have to do. They have to stay healthy because I don't think they're that deep. That's a key. I think their lineup is strong. I think their starting pitching incredibly strong. I think arms in the bullpen are something that you can always add at the deadline. They added Kluber last year. He made a big difference in that bullpen. It's never talked about because we only talk about Cespedes, Uribe, and Johnson from 2015. But Tyler Kluber played a big role. That kind of pitcher is the kind of pitcher you want in August and September.
Ron, when you look around baseball, is there a pitcher that you've watched a few times that maybe doesn't get the headlines that he may deserve that you think could be the next really good pitcher in this league?
Well, there's a few guys around baseball, but I think that the name that comes to me the most, and the Mets just beat up on him a week ago, is Corey Kluber for the Indians. I think he's just an outstanding talent. I think he has a great body language for a starting pitcher, an ace starting pitcher. And when the Indians catch and hit the ball a little better as they go along, it's going to be helped with Michael Brantley coming back. I think he's going to have another kind of a Cy Young type year.
And my last question, Ron, obviously it's the 30-year anniversary of the '86 team. You guys will be honored in about a month against the Dodgers. And you fast forward 30 years later to the 2016 team. Is there any similarities from the '86 team to the 2016 team that you see?
I don't think so. I think their pitching is more talented than our pitching was. None of them are as good as Dwight Gooden was, but they could be someday. Our strength in our pitching was our versatility. Their strength is they just dominate and power-wise. I think defensively we were a better ball club than this team. But I think what's even the best part of this is that all of these young kids that have had to listen to their parents talk about how great the 80s were are finally going to have their moment of being in the sun with this 2016 team. And hopefully, just like the Royals did it on the 30th anniversary of their last World Series, I'd like to see the Mets do it this year.